We need the young people, really. We are now talking about aviation here, but in 60, 70 years, many things will be different. The world we live in now. And
Size soru soracağım sonra. Çünkü bu sunum benim çok kısa, çok hızlı ve içinde de çok da fazla böyle teknik.
I will make a very brief presentation, not a technical one, because if we do go into the technical things, well, our professors may be angry with us because we may have some mistakes. Is there anybody who is in the aviation? Maika. Kalya Maika. I am a consultant to them as well. So this is an important subject because in the defense industry, in aviation and defense industry, so Baykar is a very important company. Do you know Baykar? Do you know that they do manufacture the unmanned aircrafts, air vehicles? Do you know that they do it? So if you don't know, you should, because you should get to know Turkey as well, because in Turkey this is possible. I was in Qatar the other day. They expect the strategic ones to us. So now you will go to strategy, tactics. To Qatar. I'm not talking about Turkey here anymore because you are selling to other countries from Turkey now. So you should read those. Maybe you cannot find them on the mainstream media, but you may find somewhere about these knowledge, these pieces of information. You are important to us, and we established a university in the Yalcin region for that. At the Yalcin University, there is a vocational school about aviation, about aircraft technology, and there is a composite laboratory in it. Boeing granted me $75,000. There is non-destructive test laboratory in it as well. So if we are immigrating to high technology, it will be with young people. And the high vocational schools are very important, and we need to actually have further improvement for those. And now many young friends of ours are working at the Turkish Airlines or the others. So what's missing in Turkey is certification, and the certification is not a very big issue, actually. We can have them. The foreign colleagues have certification, but it's not that difficult to acquire them. I will also have the certificate. I'm trying to sell my car so that I can get it. So if we have a look at what has been ongoing about the aviation, and I will try to give you some examples. This is by Airbus. In 2014 to 2000, in between 2014 and 2033, there will be 31,000 new aircrafts. Do you know what would that mean? And most of those aircrafts are single aisle, and in some there are two aisles, and this single aisle and twin aisle difference is that So this part grows exponentially, really. I was at Airbus Hamburg manufacturing facility. They allowed us into the facility, and they say the same. They say the single aisle aircrafts will increase in number. A350. This is an called extended wide body XWB. They say that this aircraft will be the aircraft of future, and there is more than 60% of, and more than 60% of it will be composite. They didn't show the 350 to us. They said, well, let's go to the breakfast. But I have to say that there are new technologies about those as well, and hopefully we will see more of it. So there is an important market out there, and people may ask me. They say, "Well, we should go for pipes if you're talking about the market." But I will say that 1 kilogram of what you do here is $1, while the other materials cost is 1,000 per kilogram, and the young people especially, if you say that we will do what's good, and in 60 years we will start selling technology, it's up to you. We will be falling behind some or run ahead of the others. Ismail Bey also talked about it in his introduction speech. There are 3 big projects in Turkey ongoing now. Do you know any of those projects? What about you? Olgun Çelik company. So have you ever heard about those 3 projects in Turkey? No? Why don't you hear them? Do we hide those? So, as the Undersecretary of the Defense Ministry, do you hide these away from us? Then why can't we learn about those? People are not interested into those things. Yeah, probably they are too busy looking at their Facebook accounts. So these 3 projects are significant projects because they are our future. This one is to be completed by 2017. TRJ 328. This is an aircraft to be manufactured under license. And up to 2017, they will be manufacturing an aircraft with a capacity of 33 passengers. So Dornier is a German-based product aircraft. The lady back there smiles. I don't know if she smiles for a specific thing. Anyways, 628. This is to be completed by 2030, and this will be designed by us fully, and this is within the category of regional jet. Do you know any regional jet manufacturing aircraft company? So, do you know any of those? Bombardier, Embraer, the Chinese, the Japanese, Squai, for example, Mitsubishi. Congrats. Honda. I'm not sure about Honda, but I saw Mitsubishi's aircraft. Augusto. I think it's helicopters, Augusto Westland. I'm talking about regional jets. Of course, this is a difficult market. It's also important to sell it to the other countries. It should be good in technology. As an aircraft, it's one of the aircrafts where composite will be used highly. This is our regional project, and the other one is FXT. This is a jet parking aircraft, and this will be our local manufacturing as well. They did the frontal design, and the motors, engines will be opted for, and there will be composite in it as well. And this one is unique helicopter program, and they also do work with TAI together, and there will be composite in this too. No, all aluminium. Probably some parts of it will be of composite. Maybe within the helicopter inside design, probably. Yes, there are negotiations about those. So these are our own projects, what we have been trying to develop. Some parts of it, for example, are of composite. This part, for example, is very important. It requires technology, and if it doesn't work properly, you cannot call it a helicopter. In aviation, there are two important things. So the biggest expense item after the expense of the plane itself is the fuel. So rendering the product, the aircraft, as light, as much as light in weight, and also making it stronger helps with the fuel consumption, and that's why they're trying to opt for advanced materials. That's why it's one of the important subjects that we pay attention to. Horizon 2020 Clean Sky is a project. If you paid attention to it, they are trying to decrease the weight of the product and the noise of the aircraft as well, so that they can cut from the fuel usage consumption. And now here, this one, A350, the exit areas are not flat. It's ruffled. Do you know why is it like that? It's due to birds. Which bird? Owl. Why the owl? Because it's the most silent animal bird in the world. It closes up to a mouse so much that the mouse would not even notice. So they look at the owl, and they use it in the design, and they are trying to use those in the fans as well. And the other thing is about the flippers of the whales, and they use a similar one, taking inspiration from those whales in the wind turbines, and the nature itself solved all these problems billions of years ago. But why? But now we are trying to get inspiration from those. The cost of the aircraft is important, but the other things are related with being light in weight and having high strength high resistance to impacts, the coordination of the parts, the resistance against corrosion, and also you should pay attention to the radar cage. So it's a cage when there is a lightning fell onto it, the tension decreases down to 0. So in case of high tension, and the cage itself protects the people or what soever it is in the cage. So these are the effects of life. And when, let's say, there is a lightning hitting, then what would you do in composites? They place mesh, and they also have health monitoring, so that the products won't break. Uh, and they have the health monitoring to identify any sort of cracks. So there are many positive issues, plus points here. In the fuel tanks, in particular, resistance against corrosion is very important. Maybe you remember there was an aircraft, AJ, and its tanks were strong and resistant against the corrosion, so this is very important. And as we said before, for example, here MR jet is by the Japanese Koi, and this is by the Japanese, and this one is by the Chinese. And we see three Airbuses here, and this one is another one. And this one is Bombardier. I couldn't put those all, but let me give you another example. While we were having a stroll in the Hamburg facility the other day, by the way, do you know such parts of the aircraft? There's a difference in between this part and the other part. One is a part that you will see probably in when you are boarding. The one is called the winglet. Do you know the other one? And this is a sharklet. So it's as big as this table. It comes in two parts. One is attached to here, and the other one is to here. So it is designed. It has been designed to decrease the level of friction with vortex. If you do put it flat and straight here, so the vortex here, and why do we need that? Do you think? Well, the fuel consumption. Yes, an aircraft, for example, fell in New York in JFK because the vortex was so small, and yes, so one of the other important subjects is the fuel consumption, because you have friction as you take off in the course. And I can even talk about the RD a little bit. With those advanced materials, now there are efforts to turn everything into smart. And it will do this. And sometimes you want the aircraft to brake, to push on the brakes. If there is a smart material to do this move, do you think it wouldn't work? Don't you think there are? There are. If you do provide heat to them, it may move this way. Well, in 1965, I read it for the first time. They said that the Russian created smart materials. It was 1965. And I was very young at that point, and I was wondering how this could be possible. But in nature, that we have that as well. Smart and good materials, and many other parts who will be smart. So if you need to break off, or if you need to come up with a flat structure or a mixable one, the smartness will help. This extended wide body of a 350 is like that. So this we will see the chart. Sharklet. This is another thing, by the way, I should not forget. We looked at it and they said it was coming from Korea. It's by the way, it costs 470,000 euros. It's this big, a small thing, and I said to myself, well, I should produce it myself. So. In composites, so that's what I'm talking about. So there are other products that can generate a lot of profit. So I'm not talking about the material here. What I'm trying to talk about here is the moment the young people will feel the real science of it. So if you do add the science into the materials, then you can even sell it for 570, not 470,000. I am coming from Kaya Group as well. There is an ore that we call halosets, and we use it to give a shiny effect on the tiles, floor tiles, and we have a lot of exports of those. But then we looked into it that it was also used slow drug delivery for cancer, and also carbon monotypes, and so on. So this is not a joke. And the prices increase when you find out other functions of those materials. So when we say it's smart, it's exactly this. If you don't add this spice of science into it, then you will lose a lot of things. So no matter what that material is, it may be composites or some other materials, you should try to add the science into it to render it smart and profitable and effective. And C series, for example, by Bombardier and Boeing have as another series, and they use composites significantly here. For the commercial transports, you can see the 4 to 5 years of composites evolution here. And this question mark is very important at this point now. And these are the lists of the military aircrafts and the composites. In Chinook helicopters, for example, it's 20%. By the way, we purchased those from Boeing, 11 of those, I guess, 6 plus 5 or 5 plus 6. So we bought 11 of those aircrafts from Boeing, and they're going to be delivered. These are big ones, by the way. You probably saw those. Those are big helicopters with 2 propellers. I think it's by DuPont. So any half kilo of a difference in way translates itself as saving in the aircrafts. Think of a pound of decrease in every liber. So it's visible, and it will save you a lot of the consumption and your costs. So this is, by the way, the curves of the thermoplastic sets, and we see that the thermoplastics, the TCP parts, and the demand from the aviation industry increased dramatically. And the companies look at what they sell on the top level, but it's also important to look at the bottom side of that. And so it's important to look at the profitability as well. So you may sell a lot, but if you have just 3% of profitability, then it may not be that much efficient. So we talked about the aviation industry, and this is about the defense industry and the composite usage. This product, this tank, will be in our army by 2017. There is a protection system against mines. And in Qatar, they have a product called Amra. It's a product that they also call porcupine. They have a lot of efforts, a lot of works ongoing currently, but we rather talk about the material manufacturers. But what about the implementers of those materials, the ones who do put them into practice, into concrete products, and to launch them into the market? I think we have some missing points there, and that's why we may have difficulty in coming up with the final product. But I guess we have the ingredients and we have the human source, and there are only the people who are not well guided or consulted, and probably it's my mistake. And uh, so what we should do is to train them well. So I don't want to call anybody intermediate staff or whatsoever. And the education and the industry should be intertwined. And in a place called Stade in Germany, for example, they have this. And the rockets here, this part or that part of the rocket are made of carbon composites. This is a bulletproof vest, and there are many other technologies, innovative technologies. You do plunge your shirt into a liquid, and it turns bulletproof. So I should be faster, I believe. The transportation, metro, the shipping industry, and these ones, these are not bagels, by the way. They are very expensive spare parts for a braking system, and the wind turbines and the bicycles. And why? Well, we are almost here. The thermoplastics, there are around 1,000. So if you don't add your knowledge and science into it, you can only sell them off cheap prices. And here in Stalde, there is an RD center, And this is one of the biggest in Europe about carbon composites. And they also have applied university. So they have it together. And I think Kortsa, Deniz Hanım from Kortsa is not here, but Kortsa will be setting up a technology platform in Technopark, and they will put the production, the R&D, and practice into the same pot to be melted. And there, as I said before, are requirements for certification. There are some clusters of certificates. If the companies are willing to get those certificates, and if they say that we don't have enough money, you can have state support initiatives for those. So we also do such facilitations on those clusters. And of course, it's wrong to switch from one industry to the other overnight. And for example, you may be in the automotive industry, and you cannot say that you will switch to aerospace or aviation industry overnight. You should look into the details. You should talk to the science people and the certification. The biggest issue is related with certification. If you obtain the certificates with enough level of investment in human force, you can get good results. But if you shift to another industry, for example, the aviation industry, in the blink of an eye, you will lose a lot. And also, you should think of the international and national partners, Boeing, Stifus, all the others. They are also looking for some other partners. So we should think from a larger perspective. The universities, the technology universities, we have hundreds of universities. The technology is not something that is far from us, but we should think about the know-how partnerships, and in particular for the SMEs. And hopefully we will have the certificates and specialized personnel. The international partnerships, these are also very crucial. They can have you step up. Thank you.